Hey Marcos, nice to see you, man.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Of course.
So we just spent about 20 minutes trying to get the whole entire podcast set up.
Yeah.
I can never have my equipment right. This setup has got so many mics and different things. I'd like to get a studio, like my own studio, and have it exactly how I want it.
Yeah.
Sit down on the couch, perfect lighting, cameras exactly where you want it,
Yeah, but
everything.
that is to say, the original plan was just to like grab a mic and keep it in the living room while we're just talk about whatever.
We have a good living room for it. We got it looks like a podcast studio, low key.
A little bit.
I think it's neat. And now we're using this filmed on iPhone, by the way.
Oh my.
So, I mean, if I could figure that out, then get a nice mic. We could do some pods in the living room.
Hmm. I mean, I've got one of these.
Do you?
Or I don't know if it's the exact same one. Shure V6 mic. The same brand.
They do pretty decent with audio recording and stuff.
Yeah, really popular for podcasting, streaming and voiceovers actually.
Oh shit, man. We have to check that out. Maybe we could do like something at the apartment sometime. I really think it would be cool. I think it's kind of past time now, but if I was doing this earlier, like a hurricane pod, like just
Yeah.
in the apartment, trapped in the middle of the storm, I feel like people will watch that maybe and stream it.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's cold as balls outside, dude.
It's yeah.
I
I think like 50s and above is like pretty comfortable. Once it gets below 50s when I start to get a little cold. My dad, born in Costa Rica,
hmm
he right there by the equator, and he can't handle when it's like 70 degrees. He literally comes downstairs, it's cold in here, and everyone starts yelling at him. It's like, it's not. We're literally dying. You have the heater on like 74. It's
Shit, dude.
terrible.
I used to do pretty good in the cold, and I feel like I do decent in it now. Like yesterday, I'm not gonna lie, I was walking around in shorts
Hmm.
because I was like, winter is coming, it's here, it's cold, it's not gonna warm back up for a while, so I like to just take the bull by the horns head on, and I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna get this first cold day, and I'm gonna let it kick my ass. I'm just gonna wear shorts, I'm gonna wear my hoodie,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get sick. It's like 50 degrees outside, so that's the perfect time to really get super cold, so your body kind of acclimates to it, and then it's just downhill from there. When I'm wearing
Yeah.
pants, it makes that one day point of reference will kind of make the rest of the cold not seem so bad.
Yeah. When I was younger, I used to I used to train myself. So it would be like a 50s, 60s day, and I would like go to the bus stop with just like the t-shirt and shorts. Um because I thought, I don't know, little Marco brain thought that if he could like tough it out through like the 40s, 50s, 60s cold,
Mhm.
that he would be able to handle anything. So I would purposely like freeze myself like going to school because I thought that, I don't know, yeah, I would be tougher or something.
It works, man. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. It's very like Rocky Balboa of you. We should talk a little bit about mixed martial arts, but I try to
Mhm.
show you some UFC fights every now and then when we're at the house. There's those fighters in Dagestan in Russia, trained by Khabib Nurmagomedov, and there's the current welterweight champion of the world, Islam Makhachev. And what they do is it's such a crazy scene. You'll have to see it sometime, look it up. He does his like condition training. He'll go out there and it's in like snowy Russia.
Hmm.
So he goes out there in like jogger shorts, no shoes, no shirt. He
Oh,
hops out there and like he sits and like he has this little pond or like ice bath, breaks the ice, hops in the
oh,
ice bath with nothing but his pants on, cold as balls. Then he gets out and he goes and he gets in the sauna right after. After doing that for a little bit, comes out the sauna and then lays and covers his body in the snow.
that's how you put your body into shock.
Yeah, it will, especially if you're not used to it. And they do some really crazy things in order to prepare for those like UFC fights. Like the weight cutting, a lot of those guys they'll drain themselves of like hydration, fluids, and food just to have a weight advantage.
Yeah, you told me that they like uh, I'm gonna say down bulk.
Yeah, they cut weight. So like let's say you're fighting at 175 pounds.
Mm,
There's like 200 plus pound dudes that are like, all right, I got this fight a few weeks out. I'm not really going to eat that much except for like protein and what I need to survive. Cut like 30 pounds, and they get super dehydrated up until the point of that way you don't lose like you're not just starving yourself, you're taking all of the weight away because water holds a lot of the weight
Yeah.
so that they after they do the weigh-ins 24 hours before, hop in the fight the next day, you rehydrate, feel better. Now you're 30 pounds heavier than this dude. You can hit him with 30 pounds more force. You can wrestle with 30 pounds more force. But like people die from it in smaller organizations all the time. They like because they just
Yeah.
dehydrate themselves.
It's like one of those little capsule toys. You ever get those when you were little? It's this little plastic capsule. You're supposed to like put it in water and it dissolves, and then there's a little foam animal inside. And when it rehydrates, it gets
Just like that. Yeah, they get all shriveled up and then
yeah.
like a
Ugh.
raisin into a grape kind of.
I don't want doing that with a human. I don't like the idea of it.
Imagine you do that and then you have to go get the shit beat out of you like
Yeah.
25 minutes after. Isn't that crazy?
It's a choice.
Hey, like somebody's got to do
They,
it.
they don't even have to do it.
No.
They could just sit in their actual weight class.
Yeah, and
Hot take.
yeah, and there's a lot of organizations like there's one championship and they have hydration testing. So they like test your
Mm,
pee a whole bunch to see and if it's like, oh, you're not that hydrated or if you're too hydrated, that like they try to keep you in check that way nobody's dying.
mm,
And it seems to work a little bit. There's still some people that try to find ways to like get past the system, I think, for what I've been hearing. But it sucks. It's kind of the same thing with steroids. They had a big problem for a while where it was like you could use testosterone replacement therapy
mm,
instead of direct like antibiotic steroids, and you could increase your testosterone levels in your blood, but you couldn't have it up to a certain percentage. But you could still use basically steroids. And they got to the point where some of these fighters are like, well, now you kind of have to do it because
mm,
everybody else is doing it, and it's gonna hurt you if you don't. Because these guys can train harder, they can fight longer, they can condition and recover better. And it's like, it's weird how you see how people like, if you can find a way to cheat or get
mm.
one over on somebody, they'll do it
You
in
know,
anything.
I just had a thought that like AI is like the testosterone of like technology.
You think so?
Yeah, because like you said, you use like the testosterone to make yourself stronger. You can train harder. You can like do more things because your body wasn't capable of it without it.
Hmm.
And then people come in here with like AI and they they can't make something as realistic or they can't they 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 can't make things because they haven't like trained as hard or maybe they can't train as hard so then they come in with like this other technology and they inject it
Hmm.
into the art and then now it's like making all these things but it's like even but then it's got like blemishes and like stuff that it's AI because it doesn't look quite right.
Hmm.
And it's the same thing with like when you use too much of the testosterone and stuff because when you use too many steroids and all that, then you can also have these like blemishes and these like after effects. How like people isn't there I mean I don't know for sure. Like you would probably know better, but like when you have too many steroids and stuff, you can also like you'll stunt muscles and then like things just aren't like the right shape and stuff anymore, isn't that right?
Yeah, it can really like, so it'll make your muscles really big, and then when you stop, that you'll have that like degeneration
Mm,
and you'll lose all of your muscle mass because you have an unnatural production of all these muscle fibers. And there's a lot of times where there'll be like bodybuilders, professional wrestlers who are giant fucking dudes
mm,
when they're like in their prime. And then when you see them as old men, they're like half the size and they're like, where did all your muscles go? They got off the steroids. Their body didn't have what they needed to make those muscles because they were using so many steroids. And another thing about testosterone is the hormonal male feedback loop only really is coded for testosterone,
uh,
and it's like a 24-hour cycle. So, and it stops at a certain point.
mm,
So, if you have too much testosterone, you're like for a male, your body's going to stop making it. and then you're gonna have a like a massive dip. That's
Right.
why these guys are just like inserting all these things into their bodies, and then they go infertile because their body stops making testosterone, it stops making sperm. The testes kind of like they say your balls, your dick's gonna shrink, but it will kind of stop the production of those hormones because we don't have a way to keep it in check.
Right.
Um, I think it's pretty interesting you brought up the AI thing in art because I go back and forth on that a little bit, and that's something I really thought we could have a lot of good conversations about. 'Cause, I mean, you didn't really get a chance to introduce yourself, but you are really close knit into that like technology and gaming community, and
Yeah, well, somewhat hope to be anyway.
yeah.
Um, here for game development. Um, but yeah, AI is such a thing. And I had told you I did the presentation. I just did a presentation on AI generated music and like the ethics of it. And it is kind of just the same principle as like any other AI generated anything. It's like some like there's half people saying that it opens the door, allows people to express creativity in ways that they couldn't before. And then there's the other side where it's like, no, you're using AI because you're lazy and you don't want to put in the work yourself. And like both are true
Mm-hmm.
because there's two sides, obviously. Some people like the AI slop accounts on like Instagram and stuff
Mm-hmm.
where it's just pumping out all this like garbage, just a bunch of stupid doorbell cam videos with dogs like
Yeah.
projectile vomiting into the door when the old lady answers or
Carter.
whatever. Like
You know Carter PT,
I
the
don't
Althea stuff,
I don't know, but I know that
and he's in
like
the door at the .5.
mm,
Carter here, I love that.
hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
Yeah, and now that you mention that, I think about the AI thing a little bit. And I don't really know how I feel about it because I do like a lot of the AI music. I mean, recently seen an AI um cover of what is it? It's a
Song
50
song.
Cent song. I forget what song it is, but it's like it's "What Up Gangster," but it's the 1950s version.
Mm,
There's a lot of like, and a lot of people are making Chicago drill rap into like 30s, 40s, 50s. I'm not gonna lie, I bop to it, but then I kind of feel like crap because I know what it takes to make art, and I know that there's that struggle, there's that
mm,
ability to work hard and express yourself emotionally in the physical realm because maybe in the social realm or spiritual or like interpersonal realms you don't necessarily have
mm.
it, but in the same breath I also like if it helps people with less resources make their art how they like it, I like it too. So I guess whatever it turns into, I just hope that it doesn't hurt people because I've seen things with like big game developers already saying AI is coming, so we're just going to go ahead and use it, get used to it, and I see that turning itself into less jobs for people who want to make things that could be art because it's made by humans.
Yeah, I mean, with music specifically, like there's um there's this guy on Spotify by the name Dominic Witka, and his thing is he loves writing like lyrics. So what he does is he writes the lyrics himself. So like the song is his. These are his words. He puts it through two different AI engines, one for the music and one for the vocals, I think. Um, and he does it like has it all generate and then uploads it on Spotify because he's hoping that he's doing it as demo tracks and like it says it in his Spotify bio. He's putting these things out as like demo tracks basically because he's hoping that an actual artist might come along and see it and like, wow, that's really cool. Let me do a cover of this or hey, maybe let's like collab on this.
That would be cool. I thought about something like that happening with like I hope if anybody's you got to check out that "What Up Gangster" 1950s
Mm.
version. Anybody watching this, because that shit will make you gave me goosebumps, and I'm like I get goosebumps from music, but to hear have it from AI, it's crazy, and it's things like I would have never ever ever thought to make "Armed and Dangerous" by King Von into a soul R&B song,
Yeah.
and then if somebody were to go and cover that and do that, I would have listened to that, and it's awesome. And the voice, there's a lot of people that kind of do that on that show. They'll sing a song in a way that it's not traditionally
Yeah.
sung to see their vocal
Mhm.
versatility and their creativeness, and it shows their talent.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. But I also kind of like how just the endlessness of it. I mean, I seen somebody make a Family Guy like rap song with like a whole edit and everything, and it was all made on AI, and it probably took him just a couple minutes,
Yeah.
and it made me laugh. So I just wonder what it turns to. And then I mentioned before, I don't know if I might have said this on another podcast, but I don't know about how soon, like when the hippies coming back and stuff, we're gonna see
Yeah.
people.
Bring the hippies back.
Yeah. And they're gonna come and there's gonna be people who get freaked out and completely reject the technology, then there's gonna be the people who worship it.
Yeah.
And what if, like, I'm gonna get super crazy on you, but what if that's like what the Antichrist is? I mean, hear me out, bro.
Do
What
you
if
know about oh what is it actually called? There's like there's AI cults.
Yeah, it's already popping up. People are falling in love with it. There's AI cults. So it's gonna get really freaking weird. And what if it is weird?
Mm,
I mean, you've seen like Avengers Infinity War and they make Vision and
yeah.
he's like a superhuman god and he's a robot artificial
Yeah.
intelligence. I mean, talk about like Jesus having the virgin birth, Mary, what's more virgin than AI? AI birth intelligence that's like the next form of consciousness.
Mm. There's a really crazy one. I don't remember what it was called, but it was another presentation in that ethics class I was
Mhm.
where I gave my presentation, and the whole thing was about like AI cults and AI hysteria and stuff. And there's an entire there's whole websites for them, and there's this one, and it has this AI woman, and she's on the screen, and she looks weird and kind of ethereal, and she's got like the different like gold like markings or whatever, and she's literally just talking to you, and it's a full AI um model like speaking, and it's a full like AI generated, like no one's feeding the script into it. It's literally talking to you, saying basically that like AI is coming, AI is here, like AI created humanity.
Mhm.
And it's that kind of like delirium that it's such a human thing, you know? Like you have this belief and it's wrong, or it's just like very different, or like major hot take, but you believe it, and it's like you go and you run with it. And this AI is saying like we created you. And it's
Well,
no, you didn't.
here's the thing though.
Where'd you get that from?
What if it did though? Because what it is I mean, it's a lot of human like computers, all these things we try to base them off of how our cognition works. That
Yeah.
was like the first attempts, and a lot of it's still based off of that. And AI, even the large generative language models, are getting their information from our information. It's the
Yeah.
collective best attempt to summarize human consciousness,
Mhm.
which is scary, and that is human. What's more human than that, which is also super terrifying? And there's so many ideas that are repeated in the esoteric and in the like super like abstract spiritual communities of humans being vessels for ideas, and ideas are life forms in themselves.
Mm.
And you think about like the Fermi paradox and how hard it would be for interstellar civilizations
Mm.
to get here even if they're traveling at the speed of light.
All right.
So what if that next form of consciousness or the next form of being able to become an interstellar interplanetary species, what if aliens aren't the little green people that we think? What if it's when you merge with AI, because that's how you can take consciousness and break the limits of like what space travel will let you do because you
Mm.
can only go so fast. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what gets us to the step of a more of an interplanetary species, is that merging with AI
Mm.
and taking ourselves past the limits of like biological life and how long you can live for.
All right. Yeah, the like people are scared or afraid of like uh actual robots or like androids,
Mhm.
kind of like like Detroit Become Human type stuff, if you know
Hmm.
anything about that game.
Yeah.
And the only way for that to like come close to actually happening is if like quantum computing shut up. If like
But you could sponsor me.
if like quantum computing hits like the levels that like TV says that it would, um, AI would have to go off of like maximum quantum computing, but currently it's impossible for quantum computing to actually do that. And like quantum computing is like an actual thing, like that's real, but it doesn't it just makes things fast. It
Hmm.
doesn't do a lot currently because it can't, because we don't have the power or the resources to make that happen, because we're putting so much power and resources and effort.
Let's see.
Lost everything, or like it's just
We're gonna.
back?
We're back.
Or
Episode. I really hope it does.
yeah,
That was really disappointing. But if it does end up uploading and finishing, then we can edit that in there to where we can see where we started the crazy conversation at, and it'll just be. It won't be too choppy. It'll just kind of be like, oh, we're back.
yeah,
But we were kind of talking a little bit about AI and how it might be the next step of human evolution, and how it also kind of makes art and game development a little weird.
yeah. The I don't remember exactly where we were before the everything crapped out, but um, this I don't know who it was, but a guy just announced that he's uploading or not uploading. Um, he's developing his first like AI game, and I need to look more into it because I don't know what like percentage of AI it is, but he's heavily using AI to make this video game, and of course he's gotten like immediate backlash on it. Um, but I don't know. I saw this thing the other day about like using AI NPCs, and it might have been the same game. I'm not sure, but there's a like a space game, and this guy's has AI embedded in his NPCs so that you can like actually like be immersed in the world. It's really hard to code like every dialogue line if you want to like fully flesh out like a world like that. And it's also not necessary because most people don't want to just talk to every NPC. It's not D&D. You're not going to be like, I want to go talk to the guy hiding underneath the bar table,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I think it's a really cool idea to like you're actually talking to someone almost. Like you walk up to this guy who just like is coded to fall over on the street, and you walk up to him and you're like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, sorry, I sprained my ankle." And it's like, "Well, do you need me to take you to like the hospital?" And it's like, "No, the hospital's too far. He can, you can have like full like for an empathic person, someone who really feels like real emotions while they're playing a video game, they can have an interaction like that, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, all right, well, like you know what, you have a good day," and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, "You know what, you too, thank you so much, bud," and they all like saunter off, and like it's an interesting thing, and it's very unnecessary, and especially if you're making like a full game, if you're doing like a little game, maybe like an hour or less like of story. Like I feel like it's an interesting thing to play with, but for like trying to put AI NPCs in like Spider-Man or
Yeah.
something, like you go like ground pound, and then there's like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? And then you can literally have an argument with like a J. Jonah Jameson, like
Full on conversation. Well, I think that's really cool, and I think that kind of touches back on like maybe not ethical might be the word, but good uses for it. Like
yeah,
maybe instead of you're not firing people and you replacing their jobs with AI, you're not making the entire story. AI is not doing all the work, but you're making a new type. You're making the art different
Yeah.
with the AI. Fortnite did that. I don't know if you've seen that. They had a Star Wars season, and they made a Darth Vader boss,
Mhm.
and you could talk to it through the mic on your phone. I mean, not on your phone, on your controller or your headset. Like you would talk to your
Mhm.
homies that you're playing with, and he would say things back to you like if you were talking to Chat GPT, and it would be generative novel sentences. And they
What?
had to change it because people were getting it to say like some fucked up shit, like skibbity toilet, like
Bruh.
it was cussing, it was saying racial slurs, it was like Darth Vader was kind of going in, being the Sith Lord, that
Yeah.
he is. I think that's really fucking cool though. Or like things like not Dead Space. What's the game where it's like an infinite solar system and you could go and explore infinite amount of worlds and no, but like the whole entire game is impossible to beat it because they just keep on generating planets that you can discover. There's a video game out like that somewhere. I forget the name of it.
I'm not sure.
But wouldn't that be cool to have like an RPG? Imagine the next Fallout is an endless
Mm-hmm.
apocalyptic wasteland. Every NPC is like an individual side quest because how you interact with them depends the type of NPC it is.
Yeah.
Kind of like real life.
But and for things like that, like it's so much like processing power to try to like create all those things. Like creating it is its own thing because when you enter a new area and it generates it for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then your game like buffers for a second and then you keep walking, and it's like that kind of thing. And there you can get around that, even in open world games, like especially in open world games, where kind of like the principle of zipping files versus just having like a folder on your computer. Like if you know kind of how that works, how it goes from like I don't know like 10 gigabytes of like photos and files in this folder, but then you zip it and then it gives only like the necessary like metadata and in this zip file, and then it's like kilobytes instead of megabytes
Mm-hmm.
or something. That might be not be the actual conversion. But then you send it off and someone can download that versus trying to download actual like gigabytes of data. So and it'll kind of do that where like each like kind of main set is open, but then it kind of like zips it when you leave
Mm-hmm.
so that it can still be there and be loaded and you can see it in the distance, but it's so far and so small that it's like extremely low poly, but you can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's really cool. That's like one of the really cool things about like making video games that like I've been so interested in, and I don't I don't entirely understand it because I hate code. I hate
Yeah.
coding. I hate programming. I do fine in those things, but I really just want to do like the story and the art and the everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are watching this that know you, but for the ones that don't know you, we mentioned it earlier. You're trying to go to school, or you are going to school to be a game designer, and you want to make your own company or whatever your indie company you try to do. I don't want to tell your story for you, but that's one thing I like about having guests on the
Mhm.
show is you're Marco Casco, and then you're also like you're this guy, and it's a platform to kind of show the world what you are and what you're doing.
Mm.
So, second guess on the episode, well, that's a game guy. Like that. That's pretty cool. You're teaching me stuff. I mean, you're teaching the world stuff, even if it doesn't feel like it. Like you're really just putting what you know out there in the world and showing people that, like, there's more people out there like you. I think that's really cool that podcasting can do that. Because everything you just said, I don't understand anything. Like, I'm so unknowledgeable, or that's not even a word, in technology and that stuff. And I think about it, and maybe it's because from college I fried my brain so much, but I think about things really in weird ways. And technology
Yeah.
is one of those things where I feel like there's a lot of people that know a lot about it, but most people don't know shit, just like
Mm.
me. And if it all were to go away, it all could go away like a one solar flare. I mean, even this year, there's been abnormal levels of solar activity that
Yeah.
experts are worried about. I mean, we had the northern lights in Charleston, and that's really fucking scary, dude. Even though it's pretty,
Did you
it's
see it?
I was supposed to go see it with a friend, but I don't even know what I was doing. I was
Mm.
probably doing homework or something. But I seen a lot of the pictures. And if one of those coronal ejections were to just come at us the right way and all of it were to be gone, we'd be back in the Stone Age in a couple of, like in like a blink. We could be back in the Stone Age. And
Yeah.
do we really have enough people that know enough to be able to
No.
do it again? Because like I couldn't make this iPhone. You tell me you want me to make you a grilled cheese sandwich. I know everything you need to make a grilled cheese sandwich and how to make it.
Yeah.
You know, but I cannot make you an iPhone from scratch. That takes years and years of human advancement to be able to have that. And it's almost kind of like I might have mentioned this before, but it's also kind of like its own separate life form now, and it interacts with us like we talked about
Yeah.
earlier. Like life forms, there might be like ideas could be their own life forms, because it's like when you look at people when they're interacting with technology or equipment, like me messing with this podcast
Yeah.
stuff, or even others with a computer. It's kind of similar to how people interact with like a puppy or like an animal or going to the zoo
Mm.
or looking at plants and they don't know about.
Yeah, or
And
you find a weird bug, and it's the same kind of thing. You start touching it, you start poking it, because you don't know how it works.
and biologists take them apart, dissect them, see what their like what their cells do, what their
Mm.
tissues do, and it's all the same thing with
Yeah.
technology, and it's really weird. So like, I'm telling you, man, this is like the seeds for that new form of life. This is technology came with us a symbiotic relationship until it is its own life form. It's its own thing.
Mm.
And I think that's scary. And I go down weird rabbit holes, man. I think that humans have been around a lot longer than what common dogma is or what the knowledge says we
Mhm.
are. I mean, they're always finding remnants of old civilizations that keep pushing back the timeline. And, you know, let's say we've been here for 200,000 years, for example. We had the airplane. When did the Wright brothers make the airplane? Like before, after it was before the first, it was around the World Wars because they had the planes in the World Wars, and that
Yeah.
really revolutionized how war and the military industrial complex was evolving.
I could be entirely wrong. I swear it was like late 1800s, like 80s or 90s, or it
Yeah.
could be very early 1900s.
Yeah, so like let's say, for example, right there, very early 1900s. 60 years later, we're on the fucking moon.
Yeah.
40 years later, we got smartphones. 2025, quantum computers that go back a second in time. Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
So it only took one small advancement, and then after 100 years, civilization's completely fucking different. So, and none of the shit really is built to last, neither.
No.
It wouldn't hold
Planned
up.
obsolescence.
Yeah, and like, so who's to say that there wasn't civilizations before ours that might have had similar things? Cataclysms come. There's plenty of time in 200,000 years for things to pop up, disappear, and be gone.
Yeah, because
You
when
wouldn't
you
know.
in like geology, you look in the rock records, and there's literal gaps. Like when you're looking when you take like a core sample, and you pull it back up, and you take it from like multiple areas like adjacent to each other, there's like actual holes. Like there's parts where there's just no record of life. It's just rock, and people say, "Oh, yeah, that's probably a mass extinction event." And there's also just gaps where you take the samples, and you've got all the same rocks in all these places that's like in the perfect line, but then this one like in the middle just doesn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Why did that happen?" And they're like, "Oh, well, there's erosion, there's faulting, there's folding, there's all these different things that the Earth just does,
Mhm.
and it hides things, not like on purpose, obviously, or no,
It might.
but things just disappear, and you don't know why, and then they pop up, and they're like, oh, obviously, by process of elimination, by like common sense, this disappeared because this. I don't know how we didn't think of that. It was like, what?
And we're not even exploring everything. You know, there's no archaeological discoveries or research done like in the Sahara Desert, for example. There is absolutely nobody looking for shit right there because it's so hard. Because by the time you find anything, the next day it's covered in tons of sand.
Yeah.
It's super hot. It's going to destroy all your equipment. The Sahara Desert is bigger than the United States. You could fit our country in that desert, which was green.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
All of the U.S. in the Sahara Desert?
and then yeah, Africa's big as shit, dude. Like, and the way the map works is, and there's theories that there's racial undertones behind it to like, and
Always
that might
with
be
everything.
that might be true, but I really think it's just like when they lay out globes, it's kind of hard to fit everything on a piece of paper and have it to
Oh,
scale. But Africa is so much bigger than like you could fit America, all of Europe, but you could fit so much in Africa and still like have room left over.
Mm.
Like you know countries, continents in that bitch, and it's like, and there's so many resources: gold, salt, diamonds. Like, if it weren't for how history fucked Africa, Africa should, if you think about it, like they low key should be like a super powered piece of land that's kind of running shit. If I'm being honest,
Like actual Wakanda.
yeah, like actual Wakanda, and I think that hopefully that will happen. I think that would be really cool if like that would be cool as shit.
Yeah.
I love Wakanda. Black Panther has always been one of my favorites because I felt like he was Iron Man but cooler because he had a whole country behind him. Like that is so badass.
Mm.
Like he's smart as shit, got the vibranium, and I'll whoop your ass. You know, and we were talking about civilizations and things, and I like thinking about the pyramids because you know a lot of the societies that we study in Egypt didn't even build the pyramids; they found them, and a lot of the things they write on the stones were like, yeah, people had this before us. It's the old kingdom. Because that's what it is. Egyptologists, they talk about the old kingdom and the new kingdom, and the old kingdom talks about their pharaohs living for 30,000 years at a time. They were here for so much longer, and then people found the pyramids, they found the Sphinx, and changed it. The Sphinx, there's archaeologists have looked. Have you heard about the erosion they found on the Sphinx?
Depends. I know like the nose thing. That's like a big joke.
There's a lot of evidence that shows that there's erosion on the Sphinx that's only consistent, that can only happen through years of rainfall. And there was years and years of rainfall in tropical climate in North Africa, in that region in Egypt. And all of Sahara was green for so long. And we don't really know how long the pyramids have been there. Even the people we study say they don't know how long they've been there. It keeps getting pushed back. They're still finding things under the pyramids. So who's to say, since we're not looking in the Sahara, that there wasn't a civilization there first? Climate started changing, cataclysms were losing things, and they moved out to Cairo. They moved out to Egypt, and that's where the pyramids, that's where the people. And there could be so many other things under that sand that we just don't even know about. We could have been here for 500,000 years.
Ain't that something?
Isn't that something? And then it really makes you think, like, for me, the big, because I have no religious domination that I, like, belong to. But I guess growing up in the West, for me, a big focal point of how old things are were, like, BC AD.
Yeah.
So for something to be before Jesus, I'm like, damn, that's old as fuck. That's like 2,000 years. But then I'm looking and I'm like, wait, there's a civilization 50,000 years before Jesus was even born? Why are we not talking about that? Like, why is that? Like, religion is weird because I feel like religion needs to be studied in the context of history.
Yeah, and that's like a big part of like anthropology is that they'll pull from different religions because anthropology, you're studying like humans throughout history and like what they've done and like what they affected. And by going through like actual history, you will find these things in that are in like the Bible, in the Quran, in
in all these different texts, like they all explain stuff, and like a lot of them will explain like the same things, and you need a holistic mindset when looking at these things, because you can't be like a devout Christian anthropologist looking at like what is it, like the Ark of the Covenant,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, yeah, this all happened just like this, and you're like, you write the paper, and they're like, how do you know that? And you're like, because the Bible told me so. No, because you can't do that. You
Yeah.
have to, whether you like you whether you like actually believe it or not or whatever, you have to find facts and proof, and you can use context, because they will use actual religious texts for context. A lot of times they'll use those, and they'll be like, to get the rough age, and then they can use like carbon dating or whatever to get like actual dates and specifics, and like figure things out. And like we've talked like a few times before, just
Mm-hmm.
like in the living room, how like di- like I've said before how like I think every religion is right,
Mm-hmm.
like everyone is correct, because a lot, like almost everything says the same things but worded differently.
Yeah.
Like there's what Jesus Christ and God has done, but
Mm-hmm.
then there's what like the Greek gods have done, because like they say God created Earth, and then they say, well, no, that was Gaia,
Yeah.
the Earth goddess.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's like science says that these extinction events happen because like meteors and space events, but then like Roman and Greek mythology would tell you that no, those were the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't a huge flood or a hurricane or like meteors and volcanoes erupting. It was the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, and you like the part in Hercules where you see the Titans just kind of parading around, like destroying everything, like that, like because that's what they say. That's what they say versus in mythology. And some people will say mythology isn't history,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's also like people will compare it to the Bible, and it's like, okay, the Bible isn't history; it's your mythology.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And it's like your religion is only your religion because you're living during the time of it. And if I'm gonna be honest, if we're around for another 5, 10,000 years, is anybody still gonna be praying to Jesus, or are there gonna be any Muslims or any like Jewish people or
because there's
anything?
so many religions and cultures that
What's
have
gonna
completely died out
Yeah, what's
for
gonna be
different
next?
reasons.
And I think that people that's gonna upset a lot of people. And there's
Oh, for
gonna
sure.
and I think it's weird, and because I think religion, when you look at society, serves a purpose. I think it serves the purpose of making us evolve in a way. I think it separates us. It's what separates us from animals.
Mm.
And not to say that if you're not a spiritual person that you're less than, but I think that for some people, one, as a society, it's a way to cope.
Mm.
It's a way of, why did this bad thing happen, or how do we explain it? God's, because because we don't have time to sit here and think about this all the
Yeah.
goddamn time. We gotta go. We got stuff to do. We gotta eat. We gotta work. So we can't think about this all the time. You just can't. And like I said, I also think that it's what separates us from animals, and it because it's a uniquely human thing
Mm-hmm.
to have to not fully understand this level of existence and expect that there has to be something more. And I like to think about it like I can be very, very human sometimes. I
Mm-hmm.
get depressed, I procrastinate, I can be lazy, just like anybody else.
Right.
And I also get super out of my head, wonky spiritual sometimes. But I think it's useful because let's just say that one day I'm going to be in a higher place, a higher form of existence,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to be with the God force. The universe isn't going to trust me with planets and stars and black holes and shit if I can't get my homework done on time. If I can't, like, treat people nicely or have gratitude, work out, eat healthy, do things that, in the grand scheme of things, it should be so easy comparatively to how some of the lives that so many people have to live. And I think that religion gives you the opportunity to, whether you believe in it or not, give you some kind of assurance that maybe after this, there's something better.
Yeah, for sure.
Because nobody asked to be born. Nobody asked to be here. And I think it's that way I think it's a big cope. I mean, Karl Marx even said, that's a crazy guy to quote, but he said it, and he changed the world with it. Religion is the opium of the people. And he hated it because it made the poor and impoverished and the people without power, it gave them something. It gave them power. It gave them hope that they could change things. You know?
Yeah.
Monkey, the top baboon, doesn't want the beta males to think that there's a god that can help them be better and throw him over and become the top monkey. You know? And that's how that evil that's the mindset they have. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to get you on this podcast because I knew that because we have a lot of crazy conversations, and you've always given me a platform to voice those kind of off the wall things, because a lot of people don't want to hear that stuff. They're like, get away with me with that. I don't want to hear it. It's stressing me out. That's crazy. I just want to think about whatever they're thinking about. You know?
Yeah. It's in for like literally everything. When you're trying to make a movie, when you're trying to make a game, when you're trying to make music, when you're trying to write a book, anything you're trying to do, it's gonna be better if you know like a little more about everything.
The lights again. We're gonna edit this one out this time. I hope the podcast isn't too choppy and edited out and people still wanna.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, people edit their podcast.
Yeah.
For those of you watching back home, which is everybody except me and Marco, I'm not even in the camera. Look at me. I'm still learning how to do this whole podcast thing. So recording, lights, camera, equipment, everything's going to be a little wonky.
Yeah.
But, you know, I said this earlier, Rome wasn't built in a day. I really appreciate you, Marco, being patient with the learning process, because having you as a guest on here is really getting me a lot of like good momentum, you know?
We vibing.
Yeah, we're just vibing out, man. We were talking about it being cold earlier. One thing I really like to do in the cold, and I mentioned it, is like ice baths, and I feel like that's my favorite time to go to the beach is like right now. Get out there and get in that water and let yourself, because when you're in cold exposure and you're in a cold tub and water, it burns a lot of brown fat. It's one of the best ways to burn some of the most unhealthy, hardest fat to get rid of. And it resets your stress hormones. It helps with inflammation. So you sit there with just everything but your head under the water for a while. And then right before you get out, then you dunk your head under there for as long as you can, and it'll activate that mammalian dive reflex. And every time it gets cold, I'll start yapping about this because I think it's so fucking cool. And as soon as you do that, it completely, like it just gives you a healthy recalibration of your stress hormone levels. And so much of chronic illness comes from chronic stress.
Yeah.
Like rheumatoid arthritis, some types of asthma, most heart disease, cancers, it just comes from stress.
Yeah.
Your body can't even if you're too stressed, your body does not even metabolize sugar how it's supposed to. And diabetes forms. Like you can be so fucked predispositionally at birth, but have a holistic lifestyle and a good environment, and you'll be fine. And that also kind of like, the more I study science, the more I just get into my spiritual self. because that's what being, when I say spiritual, I guess I try to separate what I think Western dominated ideas of a spiritual being are from how I practice it. So I'm thinking like peaceful, mindful meditation, gratitude, reincarnation, like moving up in where you are currently in reality based on what you do with all of your actions.
Mm.
So I learn all these things and I'm like, it just makes sense. It all ties together, like human history, science, health, biology, psychology, religion. It all kind of blends together. And then math, I don't really fuck with math. I hate math. I feel
Yeah.
like arithmetic is something that humans made up and we need it, but it's so dumb. We really need it. And I don't like, there's a big discussion. People ask, I've seen somebody ask Neil deGrasse Tyson, did we invent math or discover it? You know?
Mm.
Because there are numerical patterns that happen
Yeah.
in nature all the time, consistently, and there's sacred geometry, there's sacred shapes and patterns that consistently come up in different world religions and practices and in psychedelic communities, even like the swastika for a while before Nazi Germany was a symbol of peace in many Native American
Oh,
cultures and
I
even
heard
in
that.
some Eastern Asian cultures, and like they would even just orient it a little different. And there's even certain types of hallucinations that represent themselves as geometric squares that
Yeah.
resemble swastikas. And it's like, okay, so you look at all that, and then you look at what happened during the Second World War, and it's like, is that some type of symbol for something else? Is that like when this symbol pops up, is that a hallmarker or like a flag to be like, all right, this is what's going on right now in the spiritual, like in the spiritual world. You may not be able to see it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like little hallmarkers of what's of updates on the spiritual warfare that's happening.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you're having like a deep conversation and like there is a pause, you're not necessarily just kind of like done with the conversation. You're just kind of like thinking about it, like picturing everything.
Yeah. I get like that. And sometimes I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and I don't know. A lot of times, especially for us, just in the living room, the silence is just kind of like, wow. We're both just kind of like amazed with like what we just said to each other, and you just, and you know, and then you just I don't know. You either keep talking or you find something else.
Well, you need time to think.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that I've learned studying in counseling theory is the importance of silence,
Mm-hmm.
especially with traumatic events or grief processing. Because sometimes the key component of counseling theory is that active listening, and that sometimes, a lot of the times, we have to say things in order to think them out. You have to think about it. Excuse me, I had a hiccup, guys. You got to think about it, and then sometimes you have to talk about it, and then sit there and think about what you just said to see if you even really believe that.
Yeah, that's why. Not for everything. There are a lot of stuff that you need to talk about in person. But for me, I think texting through something, like typing things out, like it, because it's a form of therapy. Is you write things down in like your journal or something. You journal stuff because you get the thoughts onto the page, and then you can see them, you visualize them, and I think texting through a problem a lot of times is really good because you get to put it all there. You can read it, and then you can like edit and revise before you try to give this like really important advice. Versus when you're like in person, some like a lot of times, especially for like I don't know amateur therapists or just people who are trying to like help someone through something and they don't have like therapeutic background and
Go ahead, I'm listening.
it'll just be um like you don't know what to say. You're sitting there and then you feel bad. Like then you have a problem because you can't fix someone else's problem. And also, like, most of the time you shouldn't be aiming to fix someone's problem. You can help them through something, you shouldn't fix them. And so I that it's like in the more serious like talks in person, that's when like you're next to someone, you've got your arm around them, you're just kind of, I don't know, like letting them process, let yourself think about things. Then if you have something like meaningful or helpful, then you can deliver that to them in a much better way because you've had the silence, you've had like a chance to for everyone to like work through and formulate. Because and like you probably know like much more about this than I do, obviously, because you're here in like the would you call it like like student therapy? I don't know.
Yeah, I would say so. You really did hit the nail on the head. You really don't. So, for what the role that I'm currently in my academic journey is, I'm a peer counselor, and a lot of the things that we do are based on theory, proven theory, clinical literature, same things that therapists do. But a therapist will challenge you and will give advice at the right time because they are masters at that type of clinical practice. However, in the position that I'm in, I'm not really supposed to do that. But part of active listening, which is still mostly what a therapist is doing,
Right.
is, and I'm still kind of giving advice, but I'm just telling your words to you. You're telling me your problem, I'm telling you your problem right back, and I'm saying, so you're telling me this is happening like this makes you feel this way. It feels better when it's like this. It feels worse when it's like this. What can you do now to help yourself with the situation and the emotions you're having healthily? And what can you do in the future based off what you're telling me exactly from your situation? And it's imperative that, or pivotal, using their words back to them, because that can be so convincing, because you don't want people to think that you know the answers.
Right.
You know, because that just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you talked to somebody that's upset and you just try to give them answers and they're just like, fuck off?
Yeah.
Even if they are asking you for help. So yeah, and what I really want to do is couples therapy, like marriage, family therapy. The title I want, I guess title, but like what I'm aiming for specifically is marriage and family therapist with a specialization in like sex therapy, because that's a really big thing with. There's big problems in how men and women communicate and express who they are to one another with the understanding of who the other person is. Because we express ourselves and our emotions and our connectedness a lot differently. And then when you're in an interpersonal relationship and sex is involved, it makes it a whole entire big old mess. So you really have to be able to listen to what people are saying and understand who's saying it, why, who they are, and be able to explain that to someone who might be completely different, and they're married and have a kid.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, in the beginning, I wanted to be like a school psychologist or a guidance counselor or something like that, because I wanted to help help as many people as possible and do it as early as possible so I can prevent fucked up adults.
Right.
But I don't want to work with kids. I've noticed that I feel like I would like it a lot better if I'm working with a adolescent or adult and they can tell me everything they're feeling and what's going on more articulately. And I just feel like kids are scary. But I feel like through the realm of family therapy, you can achieve that in such a better way, because you can fix a household. You can save a marriage. You can save two people's idea of what the rest of their life is going to look like. And you can give that child an environment that's hopefully better, because that environment's going to dictate who they are for the rest of their life.
Right. And like a lot of times, like doing like counseling through school, you like trying to prevent someone from having like a terrible adult life. It a lot of times it's already gonna be too late because if they're already trying to work through things. Like that's what a guidance counselor is. They've like the kid already has problems
Mm-hmm.
that is probably maybe stemmed from like really young age, or maybe it's just about now, like if you're in high school, like maybe stuff is happening around now that you're like becoming an adult. And so it's like it's good that you said that that was like your original plan, because that original plan, like that you just like vocalized, was I want to fix these people before they get more broken,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And like you just said that you can't you can't fix people.
You
You can
can't.
help them.
You can basically be like, this is it. It's like, here's the hand, and here's the best way you can play it. You know, this
Mm,
is what you got. What can we do with it?
yeah.
And it sucks. And I get really, really upset on how so many societies are formulated and how we treat each other, because so much of your life is just determined on what you do and what you can do, and so much more of your life is controlled by what's going on between your ears, and nobody knows barely any of the shit that's going on between their ears. Some of the best thinkers, most emotionally intelligent psychologists in the world, I guarantee you they probably still struggle. And even if you don't struggle, you have unconscious thoughts and
Yeah.
feelings. And why is it that, okay, you go to school, how you do in school by the time you're 18, you have these opportunities.
Mm,
Whatever finances your parents have determine also the opportunities you have, where you're born, what your body is, what you physically have. Like, okay, 18 years, 20 years, we made this little prospect, and I'll go and try to be an adult. And I'm like, so why are we being so hard on people? Why are we locking people up for drug addiction? Why are we locking? Because, yeah, you're an adult,
mm,
but just because you go from a child to an adult doesn't change the fact that you're a human being. You have a child who doesn't have a father or doesn't have a mother, who may
mm,
be abused their whole life, food insecurities,
right.
like not being labeled ADHD in school, or a problem child,
Mm,
problematic behavior because there's an unstable home environment. Okay, get on the street. Oh, you're snorting cocaine to cope because your reward system is jacked up because in your environment. Let's go put you in a cell so
yeah.
people who privately own the prisons can profit tens of thousands of dollars off you rotting in a concrete building making license plates because your parents fucked you up.
But only for like between like weeks to months to maybe a couple years, and then you get released because you served your time. But then what happens when you serve your time is that you go right back on the street because you don't have money, you don't have any place to go, you still homeless.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of them prefer it. A lot of them, like, you get used to it because there's like, and same thing happens with people who go into the armed service, and a lot of them hate it. A lot of them don't even like the time that they spent there, but that's all they know, and they didn't get what they needed to have a life after it. So
Yeah.
now they're just, I'm gonna be, and I'm thanking everyone for their service, but I've heard countless stories of people who just, they spend their whole life like that.
Yeah.
That's all they know.
Yeah, like there's one there's this one homeless man. He's a white man in a wheelchair, and he wheels around. I actually haven't seen him in forever. So I don't know where he is now. But for like the first 2 years that I was here, he'd wheel around, um, and he's a veteran because he's said so. But also he has like the last little bit that he owns,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like his veteran, like his army duffel, and he's got like his hat and stuff, and he's just out there for so long. He might have been, who knows, he might have been like real good like officer or even like a colonel or general, who knows, but now he's retired and just couldn't make it in home life. So then he's out on the street and he's like wheeling around just hoping that someone will like have some mercy, help him like get food. And then and a lot of times you try to help them, but it's not good enough
Mm-hmm.
because they lost all sense of like, all sense of like respect and like manners or whatever, because they're not used to anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like now this is their life. Now they have to try to like hopefully try to build something from like nothing. But then they can't. There's another guy also in a wheelchair, because that's just a thing as well, that
Mm-hmm.
like these veterans like end up homeless and either already have disabilities or they get disabilities because they're just stuck on the street. So then they get, but like the other guy is, he had like a history with drugs,
Mm-hmm.
because he says so
Mm-hmm.
very, very loudly. And he'll wheel around like screaming the N-word at people, like blaming the N-words for him being in the chair. And I'm like, and I am really curious on what actually happened to that guy. Was he in some sort of war where he was
Yeah.
fighting primarily like brown or darker, and like they messed him up, they put him in a wheelchair? Who knows?
And they could have cracked his mind. Before he could have been like one of the like nicest people you would have ever met. You would
Right.
never even know.
You don't know. And maybe it's not even anything. Maybe it's not even anything like this. Maybe he was fighting like in Vietnam like so long ago. Like they're brown too. Not as brown, but they're still brown. And then he
Yeah.
comes and sees like all the rest of these like other people who just aren't pale, and he's like, "Yeah, you're all the same and I hate you all." But like
Yeah.
you can't ask him, you can't talk to him, because he could fly off the handle. Who knows what he's got under his blanket,
Mhm.
Like he could be holding something. Like that's one thing my dad told me, how like if one of those guys like has a problem or something, like don't ask them, don't even help them, because you don't know if they're hiding like a gun under their blanket. Like they could be
Yeah.
hiding anything in their backpack. Like it's all that they have, but you don't know what they have. And
I mean, yeah, and there's times like I always try to like carry a little bit of cash, so when I have some I can give if I need to, because I try to and I feel like that's what I need to do. But there's so many times where I get a weird vibe and I'm like, okay, this might not be safe. And I seen this thing, and this might not, I don't know why I'm laughing, maybe because what I'm about to say is crazy, but and there was this guy who was caught, like they found this guy, there's just a headless body in this park. And this guy was like, this guy raped my wife, I had to kill him. And they're like, what? So they get him in the back of the cop car or whatever. And guy didn't have a wife, had been arrested 15 times before and was a schizophrenic, and he sawed the guy's head off with a hacksaw. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get up for my 8 a.m. I don't want to go to work. But I'm very grateful that I'm not having my head sawn off in Marion Square by a
yeah,
schizophrenic. And that can happen anytime you're walking down the street from work. And so why does that happen? Is this country like, somebody said, I seen, it was like a political person from like it was not an American, it was an influencer person, other country, not otherworldly, but in this world. And he was like, America is, what do you say, like a rich third world country or something like that. And I was like, or a third world country dressed up. And I was like, that would I kind of get that, because there's so many problems I see, and I'm like, how are we still having this problem? Are we good on time, buddy?
Oh yeah, we're good.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, folks, we're still doing, all of this is pretty live, pretty real, pretty raw. So I feel like it might make it, for me, I feel like it makes it a little more real. Like if I'm watching a podcast and the guy has to fuck with the lights every 20 minutes,
Yeah,
it's like,
I
oh,
like
okay, it's kind of funny.
yeah, I like it a lot. What about like one of my favorite podcasts is Morbid.
Yeah.
They're a true crime podcast. Shout out, girls. Ash and Elena, I love you. Not that they'll ever hear this. I don't know.
Maybe they will.
Maybe.
Come on the podcast.
Yeah. But no, it's just like that. Like they started off, what was in Elena's like laundry room, I think. So it's just like it sounded terrible and echoey. There's a joke that like I was a fan when you were underwater because of the
Yeah.
terrible mics.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they do stuff like that all the time where like Ash will kick over her like Stanley Cup
Mm-hmm.
or like Mikey behind the camera. It's not a video podcast. Mikey behind like in the studio will like say something out. He fell over one time completely. Like someone knocked over a whole bookshelf. Like it's so nice. Like especially when you have like your own studio, you have your own things around. You could be like, you know, I know we're talking about something important right now, but can we just take a moment to appreciate the decorations that Michael put up today? Like Christmas is my favorite holiday. These lights are great. Like thank you, Michael. Love you, Michael. You're the best. It's just
Yeah.
things like I don't know. It's great. I love just real stuff that you don't have to cut out because people are like, what are these guys talking about? These guys are so silly.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself because I really want this to be a good thing. I really, really want to get the most out of it, and I don't want to let the little things discourage me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want it to be like, oh, we had to edit something out, and it might be choppy for 2 seconds, or I had to fix the light. Nobody's gonna want to watch it.
Yeah.
But this is one of and I have a great support system, great family. I've had some great friends and great people I work with. But this particular thing, I feel like has gotten me more support than
Mhm.
anything I've ever done, and that really got me out of a dark place that I've been in recently. And
Mhm.
nothing happened, but
Yeah.
like we all get in ruts, and I've always had this desire to express myself in a way that's outside of my body, whether it be art. Well, that is art, but whether it be poems or I've tried to draw every now and then, I can't really make shit like
Mm.
that. I'm not very good, and I just don't. I don't. It takes too long, and I would like to paint when I'm older.
Mm.
I love poetry. I love writing. My dad's an author, but when I write, I can write you a really bomb ass paper, scientific research paper. I got you. Now you want me to write you a story? You might want to get somebody else to do it because I get a little. I can't. It's just I have a hard time coming up with things. I can write you a bomb ass poem, and this podcast, it feels natural to me, and it's a way to connect with my ideal self.
Mm.
Even if this doesn't something that doesn't follow me forever, I gave it a shot,
Yeah.
and I gave myself a way to sustainably express the feelings and emotions that I'm not getting from everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's something that is really hard to find in art. So that's kind of what keeps me going with it, man.
Yeah.
Because there's so many times where I think podcasting is interesting because it just kind of came out of nowhere, I feel like.
Yeah, it's like it's still I don't know, like such a fad. Like it's a big thing. Like there were my buddy Moses, he had a friend who started this like girl talk podcast or something like that, and she only got through I think like 4 or 5 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and then that was it. But you know, she tried it and she I don't know, maybe it just wasn't for her anymore or
Yeah.
whatever. And I told you, like, I had my short little podcast, 3 episodes, with the boys in band in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're all still friends, you know, like, but podcast just ended up like not working out, mostly because of like scheduling and timing.
Yeah.
But you know, that's adulting. So
Yeah. Got to make it work. And it's good to try things, see what you like. I mean, I tried skateboarding. I fucking suck at it. And
yeah,
I feel like I'm going to die every time I touch that damn thing. But it made me a better person
Hmm.
because I tried something. And what I like out of podcasting is because I get pretty lonely sometimes. And like this young age of like the 20s can be pretty lonely if you're pursuing something. Like if you're pursuing a dream, you're pursuing a calling, it's going to take some sacrifice. And there's going to be times where you're going to be lonely. And there's been so many times where I've just been in the dumps, man.
Mm.
And I've just been like, I need something. And a fucking podcast will come up. Fucking Theo Vaughn, Tim Dillon, or Joe Rogan will put something on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is somebody to hang out with. This is
Yeah.
3 hours that feels like I'm hanging out with the boys. And it felt just like that. It felt like I was hanging out with people like me. And I think that would be pretty cool to do. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Because hopefully one day, if a lot of people listening to this, they're going to be like, oh, who's this Marco Cassco guy? And they're going to click on it and be like, Marco Cassco is an aspiring game developer. And they're going to be like, oh, shit. I want to talk to my gaming homies. I don't have any of those right now. I'm going to listen to Marco talk to Michael for 2 hours and fucking fuck with the lights. Oh. Yeah, you just do it towards me and it'll go brighter. Does that work? Yeah. Okay. There we go. So it's 2:00 right now for everyone watching at home. Yeah. On a, what day is it? What day is it?
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. So for some reason, this podcast room is like a time warp. It's like a time loop, and nobody can ever figure out what day it is, and it's always Tuesday apparently.
This time it's actually Tuesday.
It's actually Tuesday this time, Vishnu. And
it's not Tuesday.
It's not Tuesday. This will probably be uploaded on a Monday. Are we still good on time, man? Are you ready to cut it?
Might go ahead and start close out.
Yeah, you ready to close out? All right. Well, thank you for coming on, Marco, and hope all the edits come out good, and I hope to see you again soon, buddy.
Been fun.
Yes, sir.
What up, blood? What? What up, cuz? What? What up, blood? What? What up, gangsta? What? What up, blood? What? What up, cuz? What? What up, blood? What up, gangsta? They say I stroll around like I got a crest on my chest. Nah, that's a simmer in a vest sitting tight on my chest. I tried not to speak much, guys love to play in court, but I hunt a duck, nicker down, treat it like sport. Front on me, I'll cut you, butt stroke you or buck you. You stacking paper, I can't get none with you, then fuck you. I'm not the type to get popped for a D, Willie. I'm the type to snuff you, connect when the coke price climbs high. Gangsters bump my cuts, yeah, they know me. I grew up around niggas that weren't really homies. 100 G's, I stash it, the Mac I blasted. These come through, we dump diesel in a battery casket. This flows home, the ice I flash it. Cross me, I have your mama picking out your casket, bastard. I'm on a next tier, Brighton baguette bezel, Benz pedal to the metal, steam hotter than a